Seeing an opportunity like no other, Palpatine spent 13 years grooming and manipulating Anakin Skywalker, plotting to turn the Chosen One into his Sith apprentice. Up until the day Order 66 was declared, all of Palpatine's plans were executed flawlessly, and Anakin became Darth Vader. But the one thing that Palpatine did not foresee was Vader's defeat and immolation on Mustafar, which severely crippled him and limited his potential. Palpatine was incredibly disappointed in his new apprentice's failure, which is elaborated on in the Legends book Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. Swiveling in his throne, Sidious gazed at his beloved Sith statues. As some Jedi had feared from the start, Anakin had been ripe for conversion when Qui-Gon Jinn had first brought him to the temple, and for well over a decade, all of Sidious's plans for the boy had unfolded without incident. But even Sidious hadn't foreseen Anakin's defeat by Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar. Anakin had still been between worlds then, and vulnerable. The failure to defeat his former master had worked to prolong that vulnerability. Sidious recalled the desperate return trip to Coruscant, recalled using all his powers and all the potions and devices contained in his medkit to minister to Anakin's hopelessly blistered body and truncated limbs. He recalled thinking, what if Anakin should die? How many years would he have to search for an apprentice even half as powerful in the Force, let alone one created by the Force itself to restore balance, by allowing the dark side to percolate fully to the surface after a millennium of being stifled? None would be found. Sidious would have had to discover a way to compel midichlorians to do his bidding, and bring into being one as powerful as Anakin. As it was, Sidious and a host of medical droids had merely restored Anakin to life, which, while no small feat, was a far cry from returning someone from death. For thousands of years, the ability to survive death had been pursued by Sith and Jedi alike, and no one had been successful at discovering the secret. Beings had been saved from dying, but no one had cheated death. The most powerful of the ancient Sith Lords had known the secret, but it had been lost, or rather misplaced. Now that the galaxy was his to rule, there was nothing to prevent Sidious, too, from unlocking that mystery. Then he and his crippled apprentice might hold sway over the galaxy for 10,000 years and live eternally, if they didn't kill each other first. In large part because Padme Amidala had died. Not for the first time, Sidious wondered what might have happened had Anakin not killed Padme on Mustafar. For all she loved him, she never would have understood or forgiven Anakin's actions at the Jedi Temple. In fact, that was one of the reasons Sidious had sent him there. Anakin's presence was essential in order to cement his allegiance to the Sith, and, more importantly, to seal Padme's fate. Even if she had survived Mustafar, their love would have died. Padme might even have lost the will to live, and their child would have become Sidious's and Vader's to raise. Might that child have been the first member of a new Sith Order of thousands or millions? Hardly. The idea of a Sith Order was a corruption of the intent of the ancient Dark Lords. Fortunately, Darth Bane had understood that, and had insisted that only in rare instances should there exist more than two lords, master and apprentice at any given time. But two were necessary for the perpetuation of the Sith Order. And so it fell to Sidious to complete Vader's convalescence. As Emperor Palpatine, he had no need to reveal his Sith training and mastery to anyone, and for the moment, Vader was his Crimson Blade. Let the galaxy think what it would of Vader. Fallen Jedi, surfaced Sith, political enforcer. It scarcely mattered, since fear would ultimately bring and keep everyone in line. Yes, Vader was not precisely what he had bargained for. Vader's legs and arms were artificial, but he would never be able to summon lightning or leap about like the Jedi had been fond of doing. His dark side training was just beginning. But Sith power resided not in the flesh, but in the will. Self-restraint was praised by the Jedi only because they didn't know the power of the dark side. Vader's real weaknesses were psychological rather than physical, and for Vader to overcome them, he would need to be driven deeper into himself, to confront all his choices and his disappointments. Powered by treachery, the Sith Master-Apprentice relationship was always a dangerous game. Trust was encouraged even while being sabotaged. Loyalty was demanded even while betrayal was prized. Suspicion was nourished even while honesty was praised. In some sense, it was survival of the fittest. Fundamental to Vader's growth was the desire to overthrow his master. Had Vader killed Obi-Wan on Mustafar, he might have attempted to kill Sidious as well. In fact, Sidious would have been surprised if Anakin hadn't made an attempt. Now, however, incapable of so much as breathing on his own, Vader could not rise to the challenge, and Sidious understood that he would need to do everything in his power to shake Vader out of his despair, and reawaken the incredible power within him, even at Sidious's own peril. Sensing Vader within the Force and pondering Luke's claim that there was still good within his apprentice, the Emperor wondered if that were true. He indeed sensed goodness within Vader, knowing that the fallen Chosen One still craved peace. But the Emperor believed that Vader would never find peace, not with the choices he had made and the losses he had suffered. Vader's prayers would go eternally unanswered. Nothing could redeem the life that fate had stolen from Vader, and nothing but eternal service to the Sith could ever absolve his sins. The Emperor knew that Vader was constantly trying to change his path, but he would always fail, since the only one who would ever achieve victory was the Emperor himself. Even death would not deliver Vader from his suffering. Palpatine believed that no act of redemption could ever rewrite the blood that was on Vader's hands. No martyr's end could absolve his sins. Even if Vader did choose to save his son, choosing love over life, it would only mean strength forfeited and legacy abandoned. The Emperor knew that regardless, Vader would not survive. He knew that even if Vader did strike him down, only darkness would remain for him. All that would be left behind would be unfinished glory and an empty throne. He believed that the story of Anakin Skywalker would be quickly forgotten by an ever-spinning galaxy, simply turning to dust and blowing away with time. I really enjoyed this look into Palpatine's mind, just giving a great deal of context to his thoughts about Vader possibly being redeemed. It seems he was able to think about a lot of stuff in those few moments when he was electrocuting Luke, but you guys know I love my lore from the books, so I don't mind this story at all. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and may the Force be with you.